The views and opinions expressed on the Veterans in Politics radio show and podcast are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.
Well. We are back with the Veterans in Politics talk show. This is your host, Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas. But before we go into our rants, I just want to let everybody know who our guests are going to be today. We have Cedric Kearns, who's a Las Vegas Municipal Court judge and also a recipient of the Veterans in Politics endorsement. And then we're going to have Pamela Goins-Brown, who's the assistant principal for Jesse D. Scott Elementary School, and she's also a candidate for North Las Vegas City Council Ward Number 2. Jim, you got any rants?
Quick one. President Bush finally released, President Bush.
President Bush.
Yeah, President Obama finally released his long version of his birth certificate. And I don't know why it took him so long, but I kind of thought it was an irrelevant issue. But the thing that I just cracked up, I don't know why I was surprised, Donald Trump comes out in this press conference, right, and he gives himself full credit. I just want to give myself credit for being the only one that could actually accomplish this. This is a long time coming. It hasn't exactly been verified yet. Honestly, Steve, I'm really frustrated with this celebrity politics that we have now.
You know, I was going to go see Donald Trump at Treasure Island with the all the Republican women organization, even the Boulder City Women Organization was hosting this, and I was invited. And instead, I went to Four Seasons and hung out with a Marine buddy of mine who's now an officer in the Army.
And probably had a better time, too.
Richard Harris. He used to be a member of the Veterans in Politics, and he's now starting the Ohio chapter. So.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I finally found out. I've always thought that President Obama was a very arrogant person. Uh-huh. I know for a fact Donald Trump is more arrogant than President Obama after that press conference.
Wow.
I'm totally convinced. So we have the country running off the cliff with debt.
Uh-huh.
And we're hung up on this guy out there just trying to make a name for himself, in my opinion, because there's no way you're going to support him to be president when you got this guy talking about seizing Iraqi oil fields and doing things of that nature. So I just hope the celebrity part of politics goes away in 2012 and we can actually elect somebody that's going to actually focus on our debt, or President Obama can kind of pull back and focus more on that issue. So that's basically it. I just got annoyed of watching Donald Trump stick his face on the TV every day.
I was listening to you and Patrick do the show last week. That was pretty good.
Yeah, what'd you think?
That was good. I tried to listen to it when I was in Temecula, but I listened to it when I got back on the listened to it on the archives. But it was a real good show. The wedding was good. One of my female friends of mine got married, and wish her the best of luck, to a firefighter, and you know how. A Las Vegas firefighter, and you know how firefighters have been in the news lately, so that's probably why they took their wedding to California. But it was fun. But I couldn't get to do my rant, you know.
Oh, so you got to make up for it this week, so go ahead. Oh, yeah. I know you got one, so go for it.
Oh, yeah, I got my rant. Did you know a couple weeks ago, Laura Davison's, we're back to her again.
Okay.
Laura Davison had a friend of hers that was an attorney call up this station, and try to get my show shut down, or at least my rants shut down. Would you believe that?
So Laura Davidson obviously is not a supporter of the First Amendment, I guess.
No, not a supporter of the First Amendment rights, the right for free speech. But instead of this lawyer, and I don't want to mention this lawyer's name because I know him, and I like to keep him out of it. But they didn't have the audacity to give me a call.
Really?
Yeah, they could have called me and asked me if I could cease and desist. So instead, they try to blindside me and go through the station and get them to censor my show, which is like the commercial says, the final frontier for free speech. And we both own the Veterans in Politics talk show, so they have to come to us and ask us to take it or not to rant anymore or what have you. But we finally got over that. So I'm thinking, what else would she do? I mean, she's trying to she couldn't get me to stop my rants. What was she scared of?
Honestly, I don't know, other than the fact of maybe she thinks that these rants might expose some things that she doesn't want exposed.
You know, if people could protest military funerals when our brave men and women have fought in war and get killed and they're protesting and they got freedom of speech with the ACLU, now why can't freedom of speech one particular person?
Well, it's not just they don't just have freedom of speech with the ACLU. The Supreme Court came down and said they had freedom of speech.
I know. So you know what I think? I think that she might try to violate my Second Amendment right. The right to bear arms.
Okay.
Well, people when they can't get what they want, so they try to use the court system to kind of help boost some kind of vengeance, or I'm going to show him and try to get a TPO. I've always said that Laura Davison would try to get a TPO order against me just for the hell of it. I wonder if she's going to really actually do that, to try to take my right to carry my weapons. Because, once you have a TPO against you, you can't carry your weapons. So I figured that's probably what she's going to try to do next. Although I haven't spoken to her in 6 weeks. I haven't seen her in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be a really good thing to do or not. But I think that she might try to pull that one. When they go to court, they cry and they make things more than what it is, a mountain out of a molehill. Or if you might text them, they try to make it into something else. And this is the same woman that said that she wanted to marry me and have my children, by the way. But I think that's what she's going to pull next, because you know what my rant was going to be last week?
What's that?
My rant last week was going to be how Laura Davison is a pothead. Because I actually see her smoke weed all the time. She has pipes. She has a bong. She keeps weed in her car. So that's what my rant was going to be last week, that she's a pothead. So I'm just going to say that this week, that she's a pothead. She's always on weed. She goes to the gym high.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, she said it runs better when she goes high on the treadmill. She does a nice big run, and she's there for hours on weed. And she even told me that she smokes weed with her friend Dave McGowan. You believe that?
No, I didn't know Dave did. He seemed like he was a little too happy sometimes. But
Well, that's what she tells me. In all honesty, people should not tell Laura Davison any of their little secrets, because she blurs them out to somebody one way or another. Even if she's high, or maybe if she's drunk, she's going to tell somebody something. So they might not want to tell her any secrets at all. But I've seen her smoke weed all the time.
Huh.
I've seen her light up the bong all the time. I wonder if her new job knows about it. Nevada State Corporation Network, Inc., where she's the social media manager. I wonder if a Susan Zapper or a Greg Zapper knows anything about Laura Davison smoking weed. I wonder if she smokes weed on the job. I know she used to drink when she was working at the Victory Party.
Yeah, I actually did overheard that a bottle was found in the top drawer of the desk when she was working at the Victory campaign headquarters over in Henderson.
Well, you know what, and I also want to make a correction. I remember last time when I spoke about that she was double dipping, collecting unemployment, and being a paid political consultant.
Right.
It was the 525 group, which was the Dave McGowan group. And then I recently checked, that group is defunct. It doesn't, the corporation status is in default right now. And then I also pull all the C&E reports that I know, the campaigns that she worked on, and she made about $9,000 of unreported income.
I think in the state of Nevada, over 200 is a felony.
Yeah. And plus, she also worked on Bernie Zagrowski's campaign for Justice of the Peace for Department 14, and he even paid her $200.
Huh.
I bet you she didn't report that at all.
Probably not.
But you know what, folks? Everybody might think that Steve Sanson is just ragging on this Laura Davison, but really, I feel that I have to do it because I think it's the right thing to do. And last time I mentioned that she's a little bit psychotic, and the reason why I say that is because she jumped in back of my truck one time, wouldn't get out while I was driving. She blocked my exit several times, wouldn't let me leave. She's done so much that I felt that I was, that I needed to vent, so to speak. So that's my rants for today.
Okay.
This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas. We'll be right back with Veterans in Politics, and we're going to have Judge Cedric Kearns, the Las Vegas Municipal Court judge. Just give us a moment, folks.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Veterans in Politics International. The Veterans in Politics mission is to teach, educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and vote intelligently for a better world, and to protect ourselves from our own governments and a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups that do not have one.
There are too many homeless veterans, and more help is needed from the VA. Every veteran service organization post should adopt a local homeless veteran.
The funding of VA medical centers is inadequate, and building a VA hospital in southern Nevada is moving at a slow pace. The budget has been flatlined for too many years. The VA is too quick to deny claims and too slow to help veterans gather records in support of claims.
Local politicians ignore veterans and their issues. They perceive a lack of organization among their local veterans and that it won't hurt them at election time. Veterans too often vote party, not veteran issues. All veterans should vote in every election.
The news media give inadequate coverage to veteran issues and events. You must send letters to the editor and voice this concern.
Please contact your members of Congress and Senate and urge them to co-sponsor key legislation in supporting our veterans.
Please support Veterans in Politics. And to get more information, go to www.veteransinpolitics.com.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
What are you doing online?
I'm checking out the belly dance class we took last week.
Where's it at?
TakeBackYourBelly.com.
That's right.
We worked our arms.
We worked our abs.
We worked so hard
and had a blast. No matter what your shape or size, come belly dance, you'll be surprised.
For class schedule and location, log on to TakeBackYourBelly.com or call 219-3151.
Americans have been fooled by politicians about illegal immigration. They make you think that if you bring up this topic, you are a racist. Did you know that America is the only country on this planet that does not enforce its federal immigration laws? For the fear of being called a racist. I am for legal immigration. I was born on the island of Jamaica, became an American citizen, served 12 years in the U.S. military, served in Desert Storm, and received a Presidential Unit Citation, National Defense Medal, and Marine Corps Commendation. Our immigration laws serve a purpose. I understand that this country was founded on immigration, but there is a wrong way and a right way. I'm here to tell you that illegal immigration is breaking our federal laws. Why don't you call me a racist? This is Steve Sanson.
Well, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Live in studio, we have Cedric Kearns, Las Vegas Municipal Court judge and recipient of the Veterans in Politics endorsement. Endorsement, period. Judge.
Steve, how are you?
How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Judge, could you give us a quick bio about yourself? And let's go back just a couple of years, Judge.
A couple years. I came to Las Vegas in 1984, where I debated for the university, and then went to law school in San Diego. Came back to Las Vegas, became a judge in '97, and pretty much that's where I am.
I want to congratulate you on your victory. I didn't think it was going to be that close. to be honest with you.
Well, a lot of people didn't. They just have to remember that I haven't been on the ballot in 6 years, and my opponent's been on every ballot for the last 6 years, and it comes down to name recognition.
But I did win $20, though.
Oh, good.
Yeah, from your race. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I bet Johnny Jackson.
Okay, well, good. I won half.
Anytime you could beat Johnny's a good day. So.
But you have a youth offenders program. I want to get a little bit. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. What it is, it's a court that focuses on substance abuse between people between the age of 18 and 24. Okay. And what's so different about this specialty court is to be part of the court, a family member has to also sign a contract and participate. Okay. And so while my kids are going to counseling, so are the parents. So we're teaching the kids about their addiction, how to make the right decisions, and we're teaching the parents about enabling codependency. Right. And, we make the kids do weekly cleanups. We keep them involved. Every Thursday for the parents and the kids, they're mine. Whether they come to court or not, they spend that Thursday in counseling projects. It's a pretty incredible program.
Okay. Well, we do have a caller on the line. Caller, are you out there?
Yes, I am.
You got a question for the judge?
Yeah, you had mentioned the youth offenders program. Are there any other programs that are out there regarding like anger management for people that lash out in the schools that are younger in the high school level?
Do you know, Judge Boy would handle the juvenile systems, but there are plenty of anger management classes. That would be something that you'd have to get Judge Voy on here to address that. Okay. But, it's a problem. I could just tell you that we're at a time where everything is so litigious. Something happens. When I was growing up, if I was at my friend's house and I was misbehaving, boy, my mom would give them permission to spank me. And really? I never told my mom because I'd get spanked again.
Right.
So, today's it's a different story out there. If a teacher disciplines you, they end up getting fired. So that's part of what we have and we're dealing with. But I don't know. I can't tell you. I think you'd have to talk to Judge Voy, or you'd have to talk about someone in family court when it comes to the juveniles, the under 18, the high school. Right. What we're really having problems with now is cyberbullying. We're having issues with Facebook and texting, where they're being mean, these kids, and it causes a lot of problems. There's been suicides throughout the United States because of what goes on with the cyberbullying.
I actually am a caller that is familiar with the cyberbullying. Right now, our children are being we've removed our children from the school because of cyberbullying and text message death threats, and so that was the reason for my calling, because I knew you were in some sort of part of the youth offenders court and didn't know if that would be addressed. And we will get in touch with the other judge in regards to that. But it is bad. It's to the point that it's being addressed in the legislature, and there are new laws that have passed. Actually, it's NRS 388 that was passed back in July of 2010. But implementing the laws and getting the administrators to move forward on it is a huge challenge right now in the school district.
Well, it's tough because they barely have enough money to run the school, and then you're asking them to add additional, rules down. Your kids don't have to have a Facebook, and your kids don't have to have text.
Right.
And so you can always take that away, and it prevents a lot of problems. If you have someone who's doing bad things on Facebook, just don't let your kids have access to Facebook and they can't see it.
And we wholeheartedly agree with that. It's when it becomes physical, and it has become physical with the kids as well. When you don't agree upon this issue or that issue, and they're messing around, and a kid gets, in our instance, our daughter was assaulted twice at school on 2 different occasions by the same child. And we've asked the school to do something about it, and they say, let's just get along instead and move forward. And when the kid is in 3 out of the 5 classes of my daughter's, how do you get past that?
Well, you do know that you can call the police. If somebody's hitting someone else, that's an actual violation of the law. That's a battery.
And we have done that. We've called the City of Henderson, and the City of Henderson has said that Clark County School Police has jurisdiction and will not file a report.
Well, that's interesting to me. I would talk to the juvenile courts and see what they say, because that doesn't make sense to me.
we've even tried to get a temporary restraining order against the assailant, the person that's making contact with our daughter, and they said that a minor cannot get a restraining order against another minor because they both are unable to act because they're both minors. There has to be an adult parent against another adult parent.
And that's, you know what, I don't know if that's correct. But what I'm telling you is...
Well, that's what we were told when we went to go file the restraining order.
I'm telling you, I don't know if that's correct.
Okay.
It seems weird to me, but I don't do restraining orders.
Right.
But that's just too bad if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I wish I could be more help to you, but sorry.
No, at least you've given us an avenue to pursue, and I just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to ask my question.
Okay. Thanks a lot, caller.
Okay.
Bye-bye. You say you don't do restraint orders. Do you do TPOs?
We hear violations. Okay. So if there's a violation of a TPO, violation of restraining orders, they come to us. Basically what we handle are misdemeanors in the city of Las Vegas.
I have a question, Judge. What happened if somebody who was trying to get their way in another avenue and has failed that way, and then try to get a TPO against somebody just because they just want to just get one? What kind of recourse would the other person have?
You know, I can't answer that because it's such a vague question that I really don't. If somebody falsely accuses somebody of another charge,
right,
and then they get restraining orders which they really shouldn't have,
right,
there's legal avenues to address that, including malicious prosecution. But you'd really need an attorney to do that.
Right.
What happens really is, in a lot of divorce cases, people file restraining orders whether it's appropriate or not because they believe it'll help them with their custody battle.
Right.
And that's something that has to be vetted out in the divorce case. But the courts are going to act on the benefit of caution.
Right.
Because if that restraining order should have been there and you don't grant it and something happens, then it all blows up.
But what happens if you haven't spoken to a person in a couple months and you haven't had any kind of personal communication with a person in like 6 weeks, and all of a sudden they're trying to get a TPO against you?
Well, you can have they do have a hearing. Once you get a TPO, it's only temporary, and then within 30 days you can go in and respond. But that's something factual that has to be decided when the judge is there to look at both sides, give you the opportunity to respond also.
Right. Yeah, the reason why I brought that up, Judge, is because I think somebody's trying to get a TPO against me because they didn't like my rants.
Oh, that's funny.
They call up the station, try to get me to cease and desist, and that didn't work. And then the following week, immediately, they went to the court to try to get a TPO.
Well, I could tell you, I have a friend who's a judge who's been sued numerous times and in federal court and had numerous complaints filed against him just because the guy didn't like the ruling in court.
Yeah.
So, that's what happens. When you open yourself up and you give yourself a microphone, then you get ready, because that's what's going to happen.
I don't mind it at all. I don't mind confrontation. You know me.
Well, a TPO is not going to, I don't think, can stop you. What they'd need is some type of injunction to keep you from talking. And, freedom of the press still exists, last time I checked.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I did some research on it today before I even showed up for the show. Okay. Jim, you have something for Judge Kearns?
Yeah, Judge.
Quiet over there. Jim is never quiet.
Well, no, it was a good show going. I do have one question though. There's been I've heard things out of the court that you don't necessarily get along with all of the other judges. That
well, I
is that because you're an independent streak, or
me in general, or everybody doesn't get along? Because I'll tell you what, there are, just like anything in life, there's people you get along with and there's people you don't get along with. The one thing that I do is, if you're my friend, you know it. Right. If you're my enemy, you know it.
That's like the Veterans Creed.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem telling you if I disagree with you.
Right.
Okay. Well, how about Judge Assad? What would you consider your relationship with him?
I'm not even going to comment on that issue.
Okay. So let's. I just wanted.
Jim is getting bold today.
No. I just wanted you to clear that up. Sometimes when I ask questions like that, the person I'm asking questions is like, "Why is this guy attacking me?" I said, "No, these are just things that are out there. So if I ask it, you can clear it up." But the other question I always ask judges: do you believe that judges should be elected or appointed?
Well, I could tell you this: if judges were not elected, I probably wouldn't be on the bench because I was 31 when I took the bench.
Right.
And it'd be very difficult to get an appointment at the age of 31.
Right.
So I have to go along with the election process.
What year was that, Judge?
That was 1997.
Wow, I was here.
That's very impressive to be elected a judge at 31.
Well, Bonaventura Joe, what was it? What hold was he? 28?
28, I think.
Yeah.
What kind of cases do you hear?
I hear misdemeanors in the city of Las Vegas. So I hear batteries, DUIs, drug cases, solicitation cases, traffic cases, nuisance cases. Right now, when I took the bench in 97, I had roughly about 3,700 open cases. Today, we have a little less than 12,000 per judge with half the staff.
Wow.
And so when I took the bench, if you wanted to go to trial, we could probably get you in and out within 3 to 4 months. Now it's taken close to a year.
Really? How do you think that this new budget being passed, how will that affect what all the budget cuts that's going on? How will that impact your daily job?
Well, I think they've cut us about as much as they can cut us. We're right at the breaking point. So I think that the court itself is safe. Where it's going to matter is Monday, our front counter to make payments closes at 5 o'clock. So as Judge Brown and I were leaving, we went down to the bottom. There were more than 60 people in line at 5 o'clock.
Really?
Because we just don't have the staff.
When would it become a point where, is there any recourse that you guys would ever have legally against the legislature if they were to cut you to a point where you couldn't grant someone their constitutional right to a speedy trial, for instance?
We're just not yet there. And I don't want to get to that point.
Right.
And I don't want to address it,
until
when you start pulling out separation of powers issues, nothing good comes from that. It's always better to show them where the deficiencies are to the citizens because of the budget, and hope that your city council or your county commission makes the appropriate adjustments. Now, at some point, there is a breaking point where you have to do something.
Right.
We're not there yet, and we're hoping we don't have to get there. We've been really lucky. Since I've been on the bench, our city council has been very supportive of the court, and they've basically been friends of the courts. It doesn't mean they haven't cut our staff. It doesn't mean they haven't cut our budget, but they've worked with us, and they've helped us maintain what we needed to run a court. Now, whether it's as efficient as it could be, probably not, but it's still a court that's a successful running court.
So do you believe in the that survey system? I think the Review Journal has one when they go out to all these attorneys and ask them about this particular judge. Do you believe that system works?
Well, I'm always one of the top-rated ones, so I have to say yes. When you're doing really well and you're the top-rated one, you say, of course it works. When you're doing really bad, you say it doesn't work. Okay. What I would like is that if it wasn't anonymous, and then I don't know if you'd get the same type of reaction. But I could tell you that
it's anonymous right now.
It is anonymous. Yeah. But since I've been on the bench, I've always been one of the top 3 municipal court judges in Clark County. So, of course, I'm going to say it works.
And all the years you've been on the bench, Judge, what do you? Is there a case that just moved you in the wrong way that you just? It's always on your mind that you lose some kind of sleep over?
Well, I had a tough case, even though I found the girl not guilty, because she was a school bus driver.
Right.
And she was going less than 10 miles an hour. She stopped, and she was going through a crosswalk. And as she was going through a crosswalk, a young special needs girl ran in front of her. But she was looking at her side mirror to make sure she wasn't anyone on the side, and she ended up running over the child. And as the bus driver came out, she held the child. The child actually died in her arms. But because of the way the law was written, if you're negligent and somebody dies due to your negligence while you're driving, you can be charged with misdemeanor manslaughter. And so she was charged, and we went to trial, and I found that she wasn't negligent. But the standards seem low.
Misdemeanor manslaughter, how long in jail is that?
You could do up to 6 months, but it's a mandatory revocation of your license for 2 years.
Wow.
And it was really interesting because in this trial, when the defendant was testifying, the prosecutor the defense attorney, and myself all had tears in our eyes while she was talking about how the baby was dying in her arms while she was holding him.
How old was the child?
The child, I think, was an older kid. I'm trying to remember, 14 or 15, but she was special needs.
Right.
And she had earphones on, and she was just running.
Right.
And so, mentally it was a much younger child.
Right.
But she got out, she took her coat on, and she lost her job. She can't sleep at night. And she said, it doesn't matter. She looked at me, she said, it doesn't matter what you do to me. My life is ruined.
Right.
And that's in the misdemeanor court, you don't expect to have something like that. But that left a little impression on me.
Yeah. What would you want to see done different in the courtroom?
Well, what I would, are you talking about municipal court?
Municipal, or in general? Because your opinion is always valid anyway. So.
What I would like to see is I would like to see, and it will never happen, but I'd like to see more staff to the court so that we can move cases quicker. Because it's not only unfair to the defendant, it's unfair to the victims. It's unfair to the officers. It's unfair to everyone who's going to testify if you have to wait a year to get closure on a case because your memory's not as good. The victim's got to wonder, when is there going to be justice?
Right.
Even the defendants sometimes just want to get it over with.
Yeah, at least know what they're facing.
I would like to get the process to move faster.
You have any ambition to do something else?
You know what? I
Maybe
enjoy what I do.
Maybe.
No, I enjoy what I do. I've had people ask me if I wanted to move up before and try and move up, but I wake up every day and I'm happy that I get to go to work. Before I came in to see you today, I went and visited some of my defendants in my specialty court, and we checked out what we call the war room, which is a room that they'll be doing as their next community service project. So as of today, I can sit there and I can look at you and say I'm very happy and I don't plan on moving anywhere in the near future. But who knows what happens tomorrow.
Anything else you want to say, Judge?
You know what? I just want to thank you, and I want to thank you for the endorsement. As you know, my election was extremely extremely close. But I could tell you that if everybody didn't put in and help out as much as they did, then I might be unemployed. But so I want to come out and I want to publicly thank you as well as everyone who's out there walking and doing what they could for me.
No, it was well deserved. I'll be the first one to say that, huh, Jim?
Yeah, and Judge, I think one of the reasons, honestly, why you did win that race is because of your honesty. When I ask you, do you think judges should be elected or appointed? You honestly said, if it wasn't for the electoral process, I probably wouldn't have been a judge at 31. Right? So that's stuff that typical people running for office don't say stuff like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why that puts you over the top.
I appreciate that. And I think that's why I may have some enemies too, is because when somebody has an idea I disagree with.
You think you have more than me, Judge? Enemies?
No, not even close. And I have 12,000 open cases.
Not even close. Judge, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And congratulations again to your victory. Another 6 years on the bench.
Yes.
Very good. This is you want to leave any contact information, Judge?
Well, if you want to know anything about the court, or you have somebody who's struggling with addiction, who's in the court system, and you want help, you can always call Lisa at my office. Her number is 229-6061. 229-6061. We can't always help you, but we can probably lead you in the right direction.
Okay, and you support Veterans Court, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And we're moving. I got to tell you that Judge Hastings has been rocking and rolling in Veterans Court. He's pulled at least 3 people. We work with Pete Quigley out of the VA, and I think it's going to be something really neat.
I am meeting with all the district court criminal judges on May 18th. I got myself on the agenda, and I'm going to do a 15-20 minute spiel to them and try to make sure that this Veterans Court just rocks and rolls.
Well, I'll tell you, it's gonna be something good. I'm excited about where our court system's moving, and I think that people in Las Vegas don't understand how lucky we are because we have a very progressive.
And your son is in the Marine Corps.
Yes, he is. He's right now on a boat, so he doesn't have internet access. He just left Japan, and I think he's going to South Korea. He's doing the Asian tour.
Okay, very good. Thank you for coming on again, Judge. This is that was Cedric Kearns, Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge. And don't go away, folks, because we're going to be talking to Pamela Goins Brown, Assistant Principal for Jesse D. Scott Elementary School and candidate for North Las Vegas City Council, Ward Number 2.
Veterans in Politics takes a proactive approach to provide you, the veteran, with the political voice for which you fought and served.
Veterans in Politics is becoming the premier veteran organization of the 21st century, with political candidate interviews, insight, and endorsements.
Public speaking engagements in support of American values.
Radio shows to keep you updated on the latest in veteran and military support operations.
Providing job placement and business support.
Go to veteransinpolitics.com today and do your part in defending liberty.
While growing up, I've always asked my family, who is my father? I was told the name of a man. When I became older, I looked for this man and found him. He thought that I was his son as well, but after a DNA test, it was discovered that my family was lying to me all my life. I pressured my family to give me the real identity of my father. I then became suspicious and took my grandfather's DNA. After I buried my grandfather, 2 days later I discovered that my grandfather was in fact my biological father. I questioned myself and asked, what is my purpose on this earth? I should have never been conceived. But when I look at my 4 children, I knew that everything happens for a reason. This is Steve Sanson. Find your identity.
What are you doing online? I'm checking out the belly dance class we took last week.
Where's it at?
TakeBackYourBelly.com.
That's right.
We worked our arms.
We worked our abs.
We worked so hard
And had a blast. No matter what, your shape or size. Come belly dance, you'll be surprised.
For class schedule and location, log on to TakeBackYourBelly.com or call 219-3151.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. We just finished talking to Judge Cedric Kearns, and now we're going to talk to Pamela Goins-Brown, who is the assistant principal for Jesse D. Scott Elementary School and candidate for North Las Vegas City Council Ward Number 2. Pamela, how you doing today, ma'am?
I'm just fine, and yourself?
I'm doing real good. Could you give us a brief bio about yourself?
Well, I've been in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, since 1964. Grown up in my community in Ward 2.
That was the year you were born?
That was no. Okay. I wasn't born in 64. I won't tell you the year I was born.
I was just giving, because you don't look no more than 30.
Well, thank you. I'm not 30. Can't you tell? And I grew up in my community in Ward 2. I left and moved to Las Vegas when there wasn't a housing market, when I got ready to buy my first home after graduating from college. So I lived in Las Vegas for a few years and moved back to North Las Vegas because I wanted to go back home.
What did you major in college?
My undergrad degree is in music education.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good.
And I have a master's degree in elementary education and in leadership and educational administration for K-12 and special education as well.
Okay. Assistant principal, wow.
Yes.
How did you manage that? Tell us all about it.
A girlfriend and I actually decided we wanted to go to school and to become administrators. And so we did after studying for a few years. And then you interview for a position and you're assigned to a particular school. And my first school was Raul P. Elizondo, who was named after a slain police officer. Right. And you learn a lot in school, but once you're on the job, that's when it really counts. And it's a lot of on-the-job learning as well, and you develop relationships.
You know, speaking of a school named after a slain police officer, I was going through Summerlin just last night, and they got a school named Sig Rogage Middle School. And I'm like, isn't Sig Rogage a political consultant? How did he get a school named after him?
Money.
He went through the school naming process.
I'm like, wow. And I remember years ago we had a big shingding at the school board of trustees about naming a school after a fallen Nevada veteran. And they said, well, the bylaws didn't allow it. That's why they didn't do it at that particular time. But I was just amazed that Sig Rhodes got a school named after him.
And if you drive through Aliante, you'll see a name and my parents' namesake there in Naomi Goins Elementary School.
Yes,
Deer Springs.
Your father was a city councilman.
Yes.
Your brother sits on the Byron Goins sits on the planning commission. I ran against Byron a few years ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, me and Byron, we go back to 2004.
Oh, wow. Well, and I think the good thing is about naming schools or buildings after people while they are living.
But you want me to tell you a little secret? I always catch Byron at some kind of buffet somewhere.
He loves to eat.
Yeah,
we all love to eat. We like to eat, especially the seafood buffets.
And I see you have your husband with you, sir. Could you give us your name and tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, I'm Romero Brown. I'm originally from New York, and I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada in '93.
What part of New York?
South Bronx.
Hey, I'm from Bronx.
Get out of here.
73 to 85.
All right.
I love the Bronx. I call it the boogie down Bronx.
Boogie down. That's us.
So I was from over there on White Plains Road.
Oh, really?
On Co-op City area.
Yes, I know exactly.
Mount Vernon, not too far. Yeah. That's
I was
where I'm from.
149th Street, Trinity Avenue, St. Mary's Projects.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah.
My oldest son was born down there in Sheridan, Bronx Lebanon Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a big difference from New York to Vegas, but I like
Oh yeah, huge difference. In New York, everybody tells you exactly how they feel about each other.
Exactly.
Over here, they talk behind your back type of thing. But me and Jim, we don't talk behind nobody's back. We just mic it up.
It to their face, right?
and then after that's over with, you're still friends.
Yeah, you're still friends.
Now it's very different.
You know, all my friends in New York, we got into some kind of scrapping fight before we became best friends.
Exactly. Most of your best friends is the guy that you fought with all day.
I busted his head 3 years ago, and now he'll do anything for me.
Oh yeah, and this is true.
So, how do you feel about your wife running for the city council?
Oh wow, it's an honor for me to be married to her, and she's running for this position, and it's just great because I know she's going to make a very, very, very big impact in North Las Vegas because she already has a big impact in the school district as it is now, right. Following in her parents' footsteps and things like that. And like you said, her brother's on the planning commission, and, it's like a legacy keep going on and on and on.
So, Pamela, another question I have is, so could you tell our listeners what your daily duties are as an assistant principal?
I supervise. We have a staff of about 64 in our total school. I'm directly responsible for 22 teachers, about 6 or 7 support staff. When I say support staff, that would be our kitchen workers, our custodians, our teachers' assistants, our nurse's office. I evaluate and supervise those people. I deal with discipline issues. I talk with families, parents, grandmothers, great-grandmothers on a daily basis. And I also talk with my children. I have personal relationships with a lot of my students because we are such a diverse population right now. Everybody has their different needs, and so we try to be there and provide for them. And we work as a great team throughout my whole building.
Well, you're going to have a lot of disciplinary issues in the North Las Vegas City Council. Hey, speaking of that, did you hear about that $500,000 that they wanted to? It was before North Las Vegas City Council. They wanted to pay this guy Gensler. I hope I pronounced that correctly, for an overview or design for a international business community, like a city center,
like a district. Yes, I heard about that.
And how do you feel about the $500,000 paying this one particular guy?
At this particular time, it's just a lot of money.
I wish I had $500,000.
Wouldn't we all? To spend when the city's in a crisis, and because right now we're all going to have to tighten things up big time in North Las Vegas just to see where monies are going to come from. So I think that's a whole lot of money to spend on a project like that at this particular time.
So Pamela, how are you going to take your administrative experience by being an assistant principal and utilizing that if you do sit on the city council? I mean, you just brought up the city having financial problems. Well, we we've all heard about what's probably going to happen with the school district, with the cuts that they're going to have to make again on top of what they already have. So how are you going to utilize your experience as an administrator, understanding how to make things leaner, so to speak?
Just applying some of the same principles that I do now. I'm good at management. I know how to manage people. I work with budgets because we're all in the process now. The year's coming to an end as to see where we're going to spend monies, whether we're going to have pencils or books. That's just an example. So it'll be on a much broader scale. I'll also be able to be a great listener. As a matter of fact, before I came into the room, a constituent had called because the door hanger was left on her door today. She more or less wanted to just get some ideas that were bothering her. And she was just thankful that, wow, you actually called, or, you actually answered your phone. So I'm there to listen to those people that I will be serving in Ward 2 to see what kind of problem solving I can do for them along with the other council members.
Two of your opponents had to was tied in the primary, and they had to pick the draw of a card to decide who was going to graciously run against you.
Correct.
Since you are the leading candidate in that race, did you were you wanted? I mean, did you have your own pick who you would want to run against you?
Oh boy! I'm going to say no to that, and just because there were 7 of us that started out,
right?
And the final choice will come from the people deciding who they vote for and who they want to support. Both ladies are, outstanding people within their own right. Okay. And so I wished both of them the best. And it was just the luck of who drew the high card.
And what do you plan to do once you become a city councilwoman?
Continue what I've been doing, work hard. I'm not afraid to work.
Is there any projects or any kind of things that you see that's going on you like to change or maybe strengthen?
Well, I think our platform is just going to stay what it's been because people are wanting to get back to work. People want their neighborhoods to be safe. And those are just some focuses. I want to continue to work with youth, but in another capacity. My team and I will continue once I am elected just to have sort of like neighborhood meetings so that we can meet and sit down and talk with the citizens and see what's going on and what they want to see that can be worked on at the city level.
Are you familiar with the gun ordinance in North Las Vegas?
Somewhat, not very much.
There's a gun ordinance out there. I don't know if too many people are familiar with it. If you have a blue registration card for your weapon, but you don't have your CCW, I'm talking about folks that don't have a CCW. If you just have your blue registration card for your weapon, you cannot have your weapon in your vehicle. How do you feel about that?
I just think weapons could be safe if they're in the right hands.
Okay.
People make weapons not safe.
Are you willing to change that city ordinance? Because I heard it was grandfathered in years ago. I know Las Vegas, you could drive around with your weapon in your car as long as you have your blue registration card for that weapon because your vehicle is your property. Mm-hmm. But in North Las Vegas, that rule doesn't apply over there. Mm-hmm. You can't have a weapon in your vehicle, period.
That would have to be something that would be a joint decision.
Yeah, I've been asking everybody that's in North Las Vegas, so you're not the only one. Because I'm ready to change that.
You are?
Oh yeah, because for example, something. Let's say me and your husband was working somewhere, right? And I live in Las Vegas, so I didn't have a CCW. Let's say I don't have one, but I do. Let's say I didn't have one, but I have my weapon in my car for my protection. I have my blue registration card for it. And he goes, "Hey Steve, could you give me a ride home?" Mm-hmm. And I want to say, well, you know what? I can't give you a ride home because I got my weapon. That means I got to throw it in the mailbox, leave it at work, go home first. It's just, I mean, if you pass all the regulations and the investigation process to have a weapon and get a blue registration card for it, and you're doing all the right things to have it, why can't you have it in your car? Is what I'm saying. Why is North Las Vegas difficult on that gun law? Don't you agree?
I kind of agree with that a little because they do have in North Las Vegas and Metro they have a bunch of different things and they handle it different. When if North Las Vegas and Metro, they both police officers, they can help each other. they can help each other. So why shouldn't it be that if one has one thing, the other should have it also?
Right, some kind of uniform
I do agree
thing.
with that because it's kind of like a double standard.
Right.
You know, you driving somewhere, you might be.
Oh, I just crossed over Decatur. Oh my God!
That's right. And
I just broke the law.
Exactly. That's my
That's
point.
ridiculous.
Right
this is not a different state.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, I'm sure that's part of the argument.
So you know what, Pamela? Once you become a city councilwoman, let's go down to the legislator in what year is that? 2012. And let's change that law. How about that?
We'll work on that.
Oh, you won't give me a definite answer.
No, I won't give you. We'll work on that. Because I have to do some more research into that.
Oh, all right. I'll let you do the research, and I hope you bounce some ideas off your husband because I think me and him is on the same.
I think. See, that's because you're from the same place. That's why you have to be careful with that.
So anything you want to say to the voters out there, Pamela, because I'm sure they're listening to you right now.
Well, what I would like to say is, as you see what happened with the primary election, who would have thought in this day and age that it would end in a draw like it did? Because my husband is working with me and for me right now daily and knocking on doors. Right. First of all, people are not aware that there's even an election going on. And people say, well, my vote doesn't count. Well, look what happened. Yeah. Your vote is extremely important. Every single vote counts. Exactly. And we need people to come out and vote. And we were expecting lower voter turnout because that's usually how it is with muni elections. However, you still need to come out.
Well, you got two city council races and the judge race.
Yes.
Hopefully people do come out and vote because I think the voting process is a big deal because our men and women are dying for other countries to have that right.
Yes, that's right.
You know why are people turning their backs?
And this
is
the United States of America, freest country in the world. Vote.
Jim?
Pamela, I just got one last question. It's a little bit off topic, but
okay.
I think maybe you can address this. You said you originally went to study music, correct?
Yes.
So what would you say to people that think that we should pull music programs out of schools, art programs out of schools, cancel sporting programs because of the budget cuts? What do you say to those people?
I say leave those programs in place because you are going to reach that one child that may not be a Rhodes Scholar, that might not be at the top of his class. Maybe music is his forte. Maybe he's a great athlete. You have to find something to reach that particular child. Treat every child as an individual, and we have to tailor education to fit the various styles of learners that we have today. And without those programs, you're going to lose more children.
Okay, very good. Because one of the things I've always said is a lot of times they want to pull those programs away because either they don't feel they're value added or they know that the parents are going to get really upset. And when parents get really upset, usually that law doesn't pass.
And then I taught music, and when a student, and I see so many, because I have to look my best wherever I go because I always see students because I've been in district 28 years. So if I see that one child who come back and say, you know what, you did this for me, you did that through me, and it was because that kid may have acted up in his regular class, but when he came to me for his 50-minute block of music time, his voice was great, or he could play a great instrument. So you have to reach out to those people as well, because those are future leaders.
And sometimes that's the only reason why that child might have even came to school.
You're right
because
about
of
that.
His love of music.
Exactly.
Any special type of music? Was it vocal or was it instrument?
I'm a pianist, classical pianist.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Any lessons from Elton John?
No, but I still play it, and I miss it every chance I get. So when I tell my music teacher I need my fix, so I go into the music room and just sit and listen because I still enjoy that as well.
Do you have anything to say to your wife?
Well, I'm glad I married you, and you're the best.
Wow.
Win this election.
He had to say
Pamela,
that.
any last words?
I want people to come out and vote, and I would appreciate your support June 7th.
Contact information?
My contact information, brochures are on people's doors as today because we had a team out walking, but my cellular number is 278-5395. If I do not answer, please leave me a message, and I sure will call you back.
Well, Pamela, thank you for coming out. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And bringing your husband as well.
And thanks for having me.
Thanks, darling.
All right, that's Pamela Goins-Brown, Assistant Principal for Jesse D. Scott Elementary School, and a shout-out to them as well. And Pamela is also a candidate for North Las Vegas City Council Ward number 2, so we advise everybody to go out and vote. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Hey, folks, I don't turn off the dial. I just been told that Carolyn Goodman, who's running for Las Vegas mayor, will be the guest next week. So I'm sure that we all going to be looking forward to that. Huh, Jim?
Yes, we'll be looking forward to it.
A full hour of Carolyn Goodman, folks. So next week, Carolyn Goodman will be here. Thank you so much.